Hello.
Hi, Mia.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, it's not going to be another private session now, is it?
No, I don't think so. No, Janelle said she was on. Catherine's coming on. I know Joanne has to work tonight, and Leanne has a meeting. So, how did you get any response from your interview yesterday?
A few people commented that they said I did really well. I find, like I said, it was very intimidating for me. I was saying to people at Toastmasters that I go to, I said, give me a room full of 1,000 people. I'd be nervous, but I'd do okay. Alone in a room with a video camera, and I said I'd freeze.
Oh my gosh, you did so well. I never in a million years would have guessed that, ever. Like, you did really, really well, and you looked and sounded very comfortable.
Oh, thank you. I worry about, I said I could control what my mouth says, but it's my eyes. I find my eyes sometimes speak volumes, and I was rolling them here and there when I'm thinking and stuff. It'll come with time, and I'll learn.
You're all good. You're all good. How was your day today?
It was good. Yeah. I said a couple clients. I said both my boys are home now from school. So the one lives here at home now. He gave up his apartment in May, but my other one's now home from school. And they both finished university.
Wow.
So it's been an amazing time.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, do you guys have a big family Christmas, or is it just the four of you?
Nope. Christmas Eve, we do a traditional Italian one with my in-laws, and they celebrate that night. So we go to church with them too, and we have a big fish dinner. And the next day, I have brunch with my family, and there's about 15 of us.
Wow.
Bring something, and then at nighttime is my in-laws and my mom that come for dinner.
Oh my gosh, you are very busy for 2 days. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. And how about yourself? What do you do?
So we have a pretty quiet Christmas. Christmas Day is it's funny because it's like the lead up to Christmas is always really super busy, and then Christmas Day is actually very relaxed. So it's just the four of us for Christmas Day, and Mike makes brunch after we open gifts, and then later in the afternoon we all go to the movies. That's like a tradition that we have. We always do that. And then we come home and we have dinner and we play games and that. And then we see family on Boxing Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boxing Day is usually a quiet day for us.
Mm-hmm. We're the complete opposite.
Pardon?
We're the complete opposite. The quiet day for us is the Christmas Day, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find it really hard, you saying even opening gifts? My boy's 25 and 22 right now. And I said, I can't surprise them with anything. My one son, he's been going on a cruise, so he wants money. And that's fine. But I figured, it's usually the stocking stuffers that I get to go by. But I miss wrapping and having them surprised. And it's been years since I've been able to do that. My one son, I could buy exactly what he's wearing, and he'll return it.
Oh my gosh. Can I tell you that's the thing. Like I always get the boys' clothes. They always seem to really like the stuff that I get them.
Mm-hmm.
So thank God.
Yeah.
But you know what? I watch what they're wearing. I like, and the fact that like I've been working in fashion for so long, you know what I mean? So, hey, Miss Catherine.
Hello, girls.
Hi, Victoria.
Hi.
How is everyone doing today? How's your cough, Victoria?
Oh, my cough is good. Everything seems to be pretty much gone, just a little bit.
Did you get your hair cut, Victoria?
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, something's different.
No, it's just styled differently. That's all. I play around with it all the time.
Well, that's nice on you.
It does. It looks really pretty like that.
Thank you.
Catherine, how are you doing, honey?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, I did my hair fila today. I had to have a shower. It was do the dishes or have a shower. So I said I'm going to have a shower.
Oh my gosh, you're so cute. That is so cute. Victoria, did you have a good day today?
Yes, I did. I just went out shopping to try and get as much of those last minute things before the big weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, tomorrow I have to get my car oil change and tune up, so I'll be all ready.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I know. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's going to be this weekend. Like, it's crazy. How did this even happen? How did we even get here so quickly? Oh my gosh. So are you guys ready for your workshop today?
Yes.
We are talking about success today, guys, because you guys are all extremely successful. So I thought it would be super important for us to talk about success. And the most amazing thing about success, guys, is we're going to talk a lot about mindsets. We're going to talk a lot about failure, because you can't have success without failure. So we're going to really kind of dive into that today. So of course, the beginning of this particular workshop, guys, you learned this information in the Impact Leadership course, which was the study done by Edward Banfield. If you remember, in 1974, he's a sociologist, and Dr. Banfield of the Harvard University wrote a book entitled The Unheavenly City. And he described one of the most profound studies on success and priority setting ever conducted. So what he ended up finding out is he started off convinced back in 1974 that the answer to this question would be found in factors such as family background, education, intelligence, influential contacts, or some other concrete factor. But as you know, what he discovered was the major reason for success in life was a particular attitude of mind, which comes down to a mindset, which is something now, it's really phenomenal. If you think about 1974, I mean, I was just like a little tiny kid back then, but it was like 1974, no one talked about mindsets. In fact, anyone that talked about mindsets or like an attitude or anything like that, you know, they were, I mean, because we were just coming out of the whole hippies and everything else. So this would have just no one would have believed something like this. And yet this Harvard graduate, all of a sudden the sociologist is saying that it comes down to your attitude. And he said that men and women who were the most successful in life and the most likely to move up economically were those who took the future into consideration with every decision that they made. So a positive mindset was going to do that. So what he then proved is that the definitions of success is not having a lot of money, being wealthy, and having a lot of tangible and earned degrees. Of course, it is the opposite of that. True success in life cannot be measured with those above named things, but instead the amount of people that are able to live a better and more advanced life because of what they have created. Miss Janelle, welcome, my darling. Oh my gosh, you're beautiful. Hello, honey. Hi. Hi, sweetie pie. How are you?
Good.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if she likes the workshop more than you do.
Oh my goodness. It's so good to see you guys.
It is so nice to see you, sweetheart. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really, really great. Thank you so much. How about you?
Very, very well. Very well indeed. We were talking before you came on about Christmas and, you know, plans for Christmas because, oh my gosh, Victoria just got in. She's been shopping because, of course, the weekend is here. Hey, sweetie, are you excited? Santa's coming soon. Santa's coming soon. Oh, she even has a little Santa. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Can I tell you, like Mia, honestly, you must relate here. Victoria, your kids are older as well. It's like, oh my gosh. Because Mia and I were just talking about, like Mia was saying she misses the surprise with the gifts and like the wrapping and like all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, it's been a long time since I've had little kids around too.
Enjoy Janelle.
Hi. I'm so excited, but I don't know. I've just had a shift in me where, and not to say that I don't want India to have that same authentic Christmas opening up gifts. However, I'm so like encouraged or provoked to really do something different. I'm like, and remember we were talking about this,
Yes.
Heidi, how you and your sons used to go and help out food shelters and stuff like
Yep.
that. So I'm like, yeah, this year I'm totally doing that. She's still really young. However, I want to create that form of a tradition. So when she gets a little bit older, that's how she also perceives Christmas, as a time to literally give.
Exactly. Because it is. It's a time of giving. It's a time of kindness. It's a time of gratitude. It's all of those things. So, yeah. So teaching her from a very young age is going to make a huge difference with Christmas. Christmas will then become something from her heart, Janelle, as opposed to just a gift.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I want, for her.
Oh my gosh, you're such a good mommy.
She will remember that too. I think she'll remember that more than she will whatever she got for Christmas.
Every Christmas I've experienced, I only remember one gift that stands out in my head, and that was when I got a piano, like a little keyboard as a kid. However, over the years, I don't remember the gifts. What I remember most is the memories. You know what I mean? So that's what Christmas
Yeah,
is.
most definitely. Most definitely. I think that's a really great gift. So Janelle, today's workshop, we're talking about success.
Woohoo!
We're talking about success. So I was just going over, if you remember from the Impact Leadership course, we talked about Dr. Banfield and how Dr. Banfield proved he thought success was going to come from things like family background and education and intelligence. And what he ended up discovering was that's not what it was at all. It had to do with a particular attitude of mind, which of course is our mindset. And having a positive mindset. And so what success, so true success in life cannot be measured with those above things. So, but having a lot of money, being wealthy, tangible things, all of those things that you're just talking about with your daughter, those things are not success. They really aren't. But instead, with the amount of people that are able to live a better and more advanced life because of what they have created, that is the meaning of success. So, however, before we can figure out what success looks like, and so what we're looking at when we were in the Impact Leadership course, we were talking a lot about leadership. But of course, these are the workshops you guys are teaching. So you need to remember, these are just regular Army members, and they're looking at success in their personal lives, okay? So before we can figure out what success looks like for us individually, we need to hone in on the foundational principles that define success at its core. So the Webster's Dictionary says that success is favorable or a desired outcome. That's what it is. So if you modify that above definition to fit our life a little better, where it's a full sentence, it's the achievement of a favorable or desired outcome or outcomes. That is what success is. So how on earth do you create that successful life? How do you do that? And why I brought up Dr. Banfield's study is because he was the one in 1974 that discovered it was a mindset. So what you have to do then is create a successful mindset, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about mindsets here because those who achieve great success generally believe they can improve and grow as people. So we're gonna tear apart this mindset. There is one that is called a growth mindset, which is that, okay? Then those are frustrated in their attempts to realize their dreams, tend to believe their abilities and talents are static. That is a fixed mindset. So now I'm gonna break down these two different mindsets, one that is fixed and one that is growth, okay? So a fixed mindset, those with a fixed one assume, okay, intelligence, character, and creative potential are unchangeable attributes written in stone since birth. And they feel that they cannot be modified in any meaningful way. They further assume that success is simply a result of their inherent talent, and as a result, they often avoid failure in order to maintain an aura of infallibility. So these are people with a fixed mindset. How many people know these people where it's just like they have that fixed mindset, right? It's like, these are my talents. This is how I grew up. This is the way I am. You know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. They say those things over and over again. That is a fixed mindset. These people, and the problem with having a fixed mindset is they often avoid failure. The moment you avoid failure, you're also generally avoiding success. Okay? So, do you believe someone with a fixed mindset can create a favorable outcome? Do you guys believe that? Do you believe that these people can, in fact, be successful? And what is that success? Mia.
I just got off this phone with my sister.
Okay.
And she is very successful, but it depends on your definition of successful.
Okay.
She has a very dynamic career. She always has had very lucrative jobs, and she works very, very hard. Her husband also, I said, is a charter accountant. They have the big house out in the country. They have the cars. They have, you know, the big vacations and stuff.
Right.
Her son, growing up with this charmed life, because they both, daughter and son, have had a very charmed life, and like, you know, Janelle, what she's trying to steer away from with her daughter, they've had materialistic things, that anything they want. And their daughter, like I said, the checkbook has always been open to her. My nephew now has going out with this girl that when he started dating her was pregnant, and he fell in love with her, and he's raising this child as his own.
Wow.
And she does not have a formal education. She comes from very humble beginnings. And last Christmas, this was a major catastrophe for my sister's family. So being that I have family brunch, like I was saying, I invited my nephew and his family to my house too. And she's a lovely girl. It was the first time we met her, and she was just lovely. My niece this year will not take part in Christmas if she's here.
Wow. Because
she thinks that when you're, you know, in poverty and stuff like that, you know, it does not bring you happiness. It causes, you know, different problems, this and that. And I figured, you know, my niece is just out of touch, really. She's just a spoiled brat. She's 25 years old and totally does not get anything. And even though my nephew is so happy with this girl and with his family, my sister, my brother-in-law have now accepted her in a situation, but now my niece will not partake in Christmas. But I figured they have the wrong idea of success. This is not success. The tangible things are not successful. So can you say that, do they have favorable outcomes? If you're talking materialistic things, yes, they do for them. But contentment and a good heart, yeah, no, I don't see it's favorable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But see that, like, I think that's a perfect example, Mia, because like there's so many things I want to address there. And one, it's like their fixed mindset is, you know, your sister and your brother-in-law, they assume their intelligence and their character. So they've gone to school, they've done everything right. You know, they've gone to school and they did get great jobs, but probably, and I'm going to ask this question, have you ever known them to take risks? Have you ever known? Exactly. Because it's like their fixed mindset is, I have done this, and then I, you know, then I will get this success. But they're never going to go up to like another level of success, which is a more enlightened thought. Right. You know, they have a fear of failure, so they're never going to take that risk. And then the same thing with your niece. Towards your nephew's girlfriend, her fixed mindset is that she comes from poverty. She comes from this. This is her birthright.
Exactly.
So in her mind, she has a fixed mindset that that's all she's ever going to be.
Yeah.
Instead of, who knows what this young girl is going to be, right?
And that's what I keep saying.
They have a growth mindset, which we're going to talk about next. So I think there was so many incredible points that you brought up there, so many incredible examples of how a fixed mindset, yes, they will have successes in money, maybe, you know, in tangible things, but they're not going to advance in any way with a growth mindset. So thank you for that, Mia. That was perfect.
So timely.
Yes. So timely. Okay, so those with a growth mindset have a much more malleable view on success. So success is bigger for them. They do not view failure as a reflection of their ability. Whereas probably someone like your sister and your brother-in-law, they look at failure as it is something bad. It is something that is negative. Where someone with a growth mindset never ever looks at failure as a reflection of their ability, but rather as a starting point for experimentation and testing of ideas. Their main advantage is in treating unsuccessful attempts simply as another data point. So they may say like, this didn't work, but I eliminated one option and now I'm going to pursue what is next. What's next? What's my game plan? They're always going to keep going further. So do you think, Mia, if your sister was to start reading books and she started to have an open mind, do you think a mindset can be changed? Do you think someone can go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset?
I think so, because, I don't know, my husband and I, we come from a different mindset than them. But I said, even through, I guess we were raised that way too. Like I said, with my sister and brother-in-law, they would actually insult everyone sitting at the table because they went to university and the rest of us didn't. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like I said, if you achieve even some kind of financial success or even contentment, like I said, I went part-time because I wanted to raise my own kids. Mm-hmm. And there's sometimes I said we didn't have the money to do certain things, and that was okay because it was our choice. So success in someone else, like her eyes, I guess I was a failure because I should have went for the money and had someone else raise my children and have, housekeepers or whatever. But I figured, no, my success was we have good children. We invested the time. We made sure, like Janelle, that, they knew the meaning of Christmas. Mm-hmm. That's not just, materialistic things. Mm-hmm. So, I think there's a lot of definitions of success. Is my sister, can she change? I think everyone has a potential. Do they want 100%. To? I don't know.
Exactly. Well, it does come down to wanting to. So I think Victoria is a really perfect example of this. Victoria, you led a life, probably because of, what was instilled on you with your mother. And I know our very first conversation that we had, Victoria, the changes and the strides you made in your life to embrace a positive life and embrace positivity. And I want you to know that you may have been in a fixed mindset. You may have been coming out of or had portions of a growth mindset, but you're definitely in a growth mindset now. So I'm going to tell you guys, and Mia, this is going to be very important because you talk to me about what you do every single day. The good news is you can change your mindset 100%. Neuroscience shows that our brains continue to develop and change even as adults. So old dogs really can learn new tricks. So that old adage that they can't, it's very untrue, okay? The brain is actually like plastic, and it can be reshaped over time, forming, and we talked about this at Impact, forming new neural pathways that has led neuroscientists to call this tendency neuroplasticity. And Mia, you probably heard that phrase before. I don't know if you guys remember, Victoria talked about neuroplasticity at Impact. But this is what that is. So these neural pathways are developed by doing or thinking particular things. The things that we do or say more often become hardwired into our brains as habits. These form defined routes in our brain, which become easier to use. Okay, so you can definitely train your brain to a new skill. You can change and start implementing a growth mindset if you are that person that has a fixed mindset. And every single person here knows someone that has a fixed mindset. It's like they have a wall up and this is the only way and that is it. Not true at all. Okay, so how do you implement a growth mindset? How do you make sure that you don't, even if you do have a growth mindset, slip into a fixed one? Okay, so here are a few ways that you can do this. So self-talk. You guys all know this one. We talk about this stuff in the Army all the time. So we talk to ourselves every day. Eventually, all that data is about to create our individual self-concepts, okay? This is why you need awareness of the dialogue in your head to shift to a growth mindset. Plant seeds of positivity, which we do in the Army, which is so easy, inspiration, rather than criticism and doubt. Also, judgment is another one in there as well. Someone with a very fixed mindset, there is a lot of doubt, there is a lot of criticism and a lot of judgment, okay? Also, as you approach a challenge, the voice might say to you, so this is that self-talk, are you sure you can do it? Maybe you don't have the talent. Or what if you fail, you'll be a failure. So this is the self-talk that is going to prevent you from having a growth mindset. So you have to pay attention to those thoughts and see if you frequently tell yourself anything similar like that, okay? If so, you've spotted the fixed mindset at work. That's what that is. Undermining the potential for your success, because of course failure is just a growth. It's just growth for us when we fail. Intentions. Of course, we talked a lot about intentions in journaling. Your intentions mindset sets the tone for how skillfully you navigate personal and professional success. Have you set your intentions high enough to challenge the status quo? So this is why I brought it up with you, Mia, with your sister. Do they ever take risks? How high are they setting those intentions? Because maybe they seem, you know, they have great jobs, great paying jobs. They've got all, you know, the bells and whistles that come along with that. But how high are they ever setting their challenges in their life? Their intentions, how high are they? Generally, with a fixed mindset, they're not high at all. They are generally very average people. You know, they do average things. You know, they have date night on Friday night. Nothing wrong with date night on Friday night, but there's nothing that's out of the ordinary. So they don't think big enough. They don't push past their comfort zones. They get comfortable with so what you have to do, I should say, is get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's where the real growth happens. No one has ever regretted embracing the power to think big. They just don't. That's dreaming, that's goals, that's vision. All of those things are fantastic. You know, I had a girlfriend when I was growing up in high school. And I remember she went to college, I went to university, and she would talk to me and she would say, you know what, I can't wait to just have an average life. You know, that life where I get married and I have 2 kids and I have 2 cars, you know, and we go on 1 vacation a year. And I was like, wait a minute, that's your dream? That is your goal, to have an average life? Like, why would you do that? Why would you set yourself up for just something that is only this high when the sky is the limit in this world? And she said, but then I'll be happy. And I was like, well, good luck with that. By the way, she's not happy. She's not a happy person at all. Okay, so choose growth. Of course, with a growth mindset, you have to choose growth. How you interpret your challenges, setbacks, and criticism is your choice. Okay, guys? You can interpret them in a fixed mindset as signs that your fixed talents or abilities are lacking. So in those moments, those setbacks and criticisms, if you're looking at them that all of a sudden I'm lacking here, you are then in a fixed mindset. Or you can interpret them in a growth mindset as signs that you need to grow, ramp up your strategies and efforts, stretch yourself, expand your abilities. So you need to grow. Growth mindset just means keep on growing, okay? Walk the talk. We did a lot of this on day 2. Oh my gosh, look at that little bundle of joy. I can't even, like the heart, oh my God, I can't even. Look, she's giving you kisses. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Is she biting you? What? Oh my gosh, too much. Oh my gosh, she's too much. Okay, so she's gonna go and take care of the little biter. It's so funny because with my 2 boys, one was a hitter and one was a biter. They're always one or the other. They really are. They really are. Okay, so walk the talk. We talked a lot about this in day 2. Walking the talk is, so changing the script in your head is a huge step, but you also need to change your actions as well. Don't just continually say you're going to do something. And a lot of times people in fixed mindsets are the talkers. They're always the big talkers. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And you know what I should do? And like, you know, when I have enough money to do this, or and they're constantly talking, but they're never doing. So your goal is to take bite-sized pieces of the apple until it's finally consumed. Take those steps, one bite at a time. Literally start walking. Oh my gosh, Mia, you are in complete darkness. So what I want you guys to do is definitely start doing. Execution helps you build trust in yourself, as well as reflects successful past performance, bringing you one step closer to your desired outcome. Okay, now this one, and in most cases, guys, this is a word that is generally told to you when you're when you have a positive mindset, and it's the word yet. You know how they say, you know, don't use words like don't, can't, yet, try, all of those things. When someone is in a fixed mindset and they want to start implementing a growth mindset, this word can help you. So for example, a fixed mindset would say, I'm not a confident person. Okay, so they're just not. And they'll give you so many reasons why they're not. Because, you know, I grew up, I was always put down, or, you know, so there's always the excuses, okay? Whereas you can start shifting to a growth mindset by saying, I'm not a confident person yet. Okay? By doing so, it puts a fixed mindset into a growth mindset context of learning over time. So you're starting to change the neural pathways in your brain. You're starting to shift yourself into a growth mindset. Sometimes it's difficult to just do it overnight. We all know this. That's why I said even with the action parts, just take one bite of the apple at a time to get through the entire apple. So sometimes, so if you find yourself saying, constantly saying the things like, I'm not a confident person, you know, I'm not very outgoing, you know, I'm not, you know, maybe you are saying I'm not a successful person. You're even using those words. By just implementing a 3-letter word, yet, you are then pushing yourself that there is a future you are going to change. So I want to give you guys a perfect example, and I always love going back to the fables and the stories, because a perfect example of a fixed and growth mindset, and you all know this story of the tortoise and the hare. The hare was so certain in that race that he would win that he sat down and went to sleep during the race. We all know the story. We grew up with it. The tortoise just plodded on and kept going, always thinking that he had a chance of winning. When the hare woke, he started running as fast as he could, but of course, we all know the story. He was too late. The tortoise had won. See, here's the thing, guys. The hare had a fixed mindset. He believed that his innate ability would always mean that he would win whatever he did. So that is a fixed mindset. So how I am, how I grew up, I'm a hare, so I'm already fast. But the tortoise had a growth mindset. He believed that he needed to work hard and keep going if he was to win. He was also, this is the most important part, he was also not afraid of failure, because if he was, he would never have agreed to race the hare. So that is, so anytime you want to think about what the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, that is the perfect example to explain it to anyone. It's a simple, simple story, but there is so much meaning and there's so many lessons in that, okay? So of course, I just talked about the tortoise did not have a fear of failure. Guys, failure is such a part of success. It is like the backbone of success, which is so exciting. So like every time, you know, I see people in the army and they talk about, you know, well, I have a fear of failure. I don't want to make a mistake. I'm like, oh my gosh, success. Failure is a part of success. You have to do that. So of course it is. But so everyone has failed. of course, okay? And everyone is going to fail again. We sometimes forget that successful people have failed, but what is the difference? What is the difference is they did not let their failures define them or stop them. Ever. That is a growth mindset right there, okay? Successful people are generally not lucky, because we all know there's no such thing as luck, but they probably have failed hundreds on the road to success, okay? So how can failure contribute to a successful journey? Failure is growth. Have you noticed how many times growth has been brought up with success? Because it is such a massive part of success. All of this is. So life is designed for us to grow and improve, okay? So from the very genetic fibers that make us into who we are as individual people, into the fabric of society on a global scale, growth is a fundamental part of us. Without growth, we couldn't improve life on every single front. And you just look at history all the way back, all of that. So when we fail, we grow and mature as human beings. We reach deeper meaning and understanding about our lives and why we're doing the things that we're doing. Because every time we fail, what ends up happening? All of a sudden, we start to look at the big picture. Why did that happen? What happened here? I don't understand. What could I have done different? And the thing is if you fear the failure, it often keeps you from achieving our potential. So if all of a sudden you had that failure and then now it makes you fearful that you can fail again, I need you guys to remember you are actually preventing yourself from success then. The fear of taking action keeps us from learning the consequences of our actions, good and bad. Sure, we might make a mistake and be totally embarrassed. That's okay. That's temporary, guys. Very temporary. Everyone is too involved in their own lives to remember what was embarrassing for you, okay? By not acting, we are not giving ourselves the chance to be good at something, okay? So that's going to be really important. Failure builds resilience. We talked a lot about resilience in workshop 2, I think it was. Workshop 2. Failing in life helps to build resilience. The more we fail, the more resilient we come. So in order to achieve great success, we must know resilience. Because if we think that we're going to succeed on the first try, or even the first few times, then we're sure to set ourselves up for a far more painful failure. Resilience creates a mindset that true success will take an enormous amount of work and effort. So every time you get knocked down, it should make you stronger, not weaker, because you're going to learn from it. You're going to, the very first thing we said, grow from it to get back up and move forward again. Failure determines character. There are 2 types of people in the world, and you all know this, and you all know these people. People who take failure personally, see it as a permanent situation and give up. So it's those people, I got embarrassed. It becomes a permanent thing in their life. They are so personally mortified that this has happened. I'm going to tell you something. The sky did not fall. The earth did not open up and swallowed you up, and that's the end of you. You do get to go on. And then there are people who use it as a lesson and don't take it personally, but see it as a temporary setback. We always need to remember failure is a temporary setback. You will always get back up. My God, the amount of failures I've had in my life is astounding. It's astounding. And I mean big, ginormous ones. And yet, guess what? I kept getting back up. And it just more and more made me resilient to keep going forward. See, we all feel an emotional low after we fail, okay? This is natural, this is human, this is inevitable. But how we respond to our failures is what determines our road to success. In order to be successful, we have to accept our failures, evaluate, learn, let go, and move on, okay? Remember how we talked about, I talked about it in one of the workshops, but I did a video on it as well. When we make mistakes, if we look at that mistake, that failure as a lesson, a reward circuit goes off in our brain that then on a cellular level, that mistake becomes a good thing. It all of a sudden resonates as something good in our body as opposed to bad, okay? Failure, of course, increases knowledge. It brings with it important firsthand knowledge. Nothing can replace the knowledge gained from failure. We talked about when we did the resilience workshop, we talked about Thomas Edison. I love to bring Thomas Edison up because I think he's such a perfect example. He famously failed. He is famous for failing nearly 10,000 times to create a commercially viable electric light bulb. With each failure, he gained the knowledge of just one more avenue that didn't work. That accumulated knowledge developed from nearly 10,000 failed attempts that ultimately led to his success. So that man, one, learned every single time from his failure. It also, what did it do? Because I brought it up in resilience. It made him a resilient human being to move forward. And ultimately, what ends up happening is success. Okay, so why do you think we actually need success in our life? Why do we need this as human beings? So we want to achieve success because it's a part of our life plan and progress. It has to be, okay? We all have to go through these milestones in life, and they are all successes. So the regular fixed ones that are in our life are graduating, getting a desired job, getting married for some of us, having kids for some of us. These are all these milestones that just naturally happen. Achieving these milestones are successes for us. So we need to remember that. All of these are successes. Each of these goals brings us positive feelings and emotions because we know that our life plans are fulfilling and that we are making visible progress. So that's the thing. As human beings, we need to see that we're progressing. Because what happens all of a sudden when we go into our comfort zone? When all of a sudden life is just humdrum, it's the same thing day in, day out. We get bored. All of a sudden people go into depressions, anxiety happens because there's no progress. There is no success that is happening in their lives, okay? So we have to have these. Without success, your goals, dreams, and even, think about this, the entire civilization ceases to survive. We just won't. If we don't have success and we don't have progress, we're gonna cease to survive. When you position yourself as successful, you open the door for more successes to come. So each milestone you do, each success that you have in your day-to-day life is just propelling you to have even more and bigger ones. As long as you have, remember, a growth mindset, okay? So what does success contribute to our life? What does it give us? It builds confidence. Success does this. Telling yourself that you can be successful and that you can accomplish things will do wonders for your confidence. Instead of downplaying your achievements or attributing them to luck, it's important to acknowledge them. Let your accomplishments be a reminder to you that you can succeed. These are even the little ones, all of those you need to acknowledge. So those people that you see all the time when something really wonderful happens in their life and they downplay everything. It's like that's actually a detriment to their own success. They should be acknowledging and celebrating. Do you remember how when we talked about toxic people in our last workshop and we talked about the toxic person, the envy friend, that person that is in your life that will not allow you to talk about your successes, talk about your achievements, things that you've had. That person, what they end up doing is they make you downplay everything that is happening in your life, and your successes then are not acknowledged, and that will then not contribute to more successes, okay? So next thing it's going to do, of course, it's going to increase motivation. If we don't take the time to acknowledge our successes, it's easy to lose motivation, which eventually can lead to burnout, okay? But celebrating and acknowledging your victories with even a small reward can help to keep you on track and motivated. And I talk about celebrating successes and achievements in the Army all the time. I celebrate everything. My boys, they're the exact same way. They celebrate every single achievement in their life, small or big. It doesn't matter what it is. These are all successes in our life. We have to remember, a success isn't this massive, ginormous thing that happens. It's the little things. Or if it's that we have a goal at one end, it's all of the achievements to get there. These all have to be celebrated for this one to happen. Does everyone understand that part? All of this does as well. It's not just the end result. And that's why in a lot of corporate professions, people get they leave the corporate world. They feel they're not acknowledged. They're not celebrated for the things that they do. And why all of a sudden they have all of these people in the corporate world that are so unhappy, and they're at human resources and they're depressed and they have so much anxiety. And it comes down to that there's no, like, they're not celebrating and acknowledging the successes that are happening on a daily basis. And people do need to do that, okay? Release happiness. It releases it. So when you are successful, acknowledge and celebrate it, and you all know this because we talk about this a lot, it releases what, everyone? Dopamine. It releases dopamine in the brain. Setting small goals and then celebrating them will release more of this chemical and leaves us feeling happy and motivated. Again, if that was happening more in the corporate world, I got to tell you, there'd be a whole lot of happy employees out there. The more we feel that positive emotion, the more motivated we will to go after it even more. It motivates us to have more successes, to just get addicted to dopamine. And that is a wonderful thing. It is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Okay, it inspires others. So achieving your own success can inspire others as well. When others see your success, they can partake in your happiness and feel motivated to achieve their own goals as well. So this is why you do not want to have the envy toxic person in your life, because this person is not going to be inspired by you. You want to have people around you that are inspired by what you're doing. And it's going to do that. Your success will. It's a ripple effect. It becomes contagious. When you surround yourself with people with all of these successes and they're acknowledging and celebrating and all that, it inspires you to want to have the same thing in your life. Okay? So how do you figure out what it is that you're supposed to be successful at? And I thought this was an important thing to put in, only because for myself, this was a big moment in my life. The Positive People Army would not exist if I did not take the time to figure out what it was that I was supposed to do to be successful, to have a dream and a goal. I didn't know what it was. So that's why I think it's really important for people to really take the time to figure out what it is that they want their success to be. Okay, so what you need to do then is, when dealing what success is to you, comes down to asking the right questions and a little bit of visualization. So we're going to start with the questions here. So brainstorm. Do you remember I told you guys I would have a meeting every single Wednesday at 5 o'clock to brainstorm what it is that I wanted. So when you brainstorm your desired outcome or contribution with questions. So here's the question. What unique contribution do I want to make to the world? So you need to figure out what it is that is going to be your goal, your dream, what success is to you. And I have to tell you, it took me weeks to figure this one out. This is not something, some people automatically know what it is that they want to do. Like Janelle, you're on such an incredible path right now with the real estate world. You left your corporate job. You see success in this new career that you have right now. But it probably didn't happen overnight. You probably searched for quite a while to find what success was to you. And so now you're in that job. So every day you have to keep visualizing and figure out what your contribution is. So the first one is brainstorm your desired outcome or contribution, okay? Now, if you still can't figure it out, reverse the question and instead ask yourself. Oftentimes flipping that thing, it makes a different response. So here's the question. Would you be able to live with yourself if you didn't accomplish your contribution? So what is that? I know for myself, mine was I had to make a difference in the world. I knew that that's what my success was. It was making a difference. So, but then I had to ask myself, would I be able to live with myself if I didn't accomplish that contribution? And it was answering that question to myself. I could not live without accomplishing this. That pushed me even further to figure out what it was. Okay, so this brainstorming activity really gets the brain working to figure out, so you can really start to list it all out. Then what I want you to do is imagine your ideal life. And Janelle, you probably did this. Where would you live? What would you do on a daily basis? How would you feel? So write down all those questions that come to you guys. Okay, so it's like you can literally foresee exactly what your life is like so that you know what is going to make that happen for you. And this can be a very lengthy process, okay, guys? Lastly, we need to remember success is also the journey to reach the desired outcome. It is important to remember that is the striving towards our goals and the progress we make that in large part instills with happiness and fulfillment, okay? So on top of this, we really don't know what tomorrow will bring. We don't. None of us do. So allowing for a broader definition of your desired outcome may be the most effective way to define success, okay? So make it broad. So don't necessarily, and do you remember when we were talking about doing our affirmations and our intentions journal, and don't make it so specific that nothing else will make you happy. So keep it broad. So for instance, Janelle, I'm just picking on you right now because I know you got your great new career. So Janelle knew that she wanted to go into real estate. So that is a broad thing, going into real estate. She didn't say, I want to go into real estate, only sell condos in the Toronto area, and that is my only success. She's keeping it broad for whatever is going to then come in. Because when you leave it out there like that, all of a sudden you're leaving things open for opportunities to come in. Because the fact that Janelle has gone into real estate, that was her vision. She really loved that vision, but something else may also come out of this as well. So you want to keep that open, okay? By doing so, you're not settling or changing your goals. You have to remember that. You're still doing what you love and striving to accomplish your definition of success, but success for you becomes more attuned to the way that life is constantly changing and shifting. It's more realistic, okay, but not in a bad way. So as long as you lived striving fully with all your being towards what was important to you, you have then lived your successful life. Okay, so here is the successful goal formula, and I'm going to tell you something. It's 7 steps. This powerful formula has been used by pretty much anyone that has ever been successful, and it's the easiest formula on the entire planet. It's ridiculous, really. So number 1, decide what you want. That's the thing I put up top there, where you're going to brainstorm, you're going to figure out what success. Decide exactly what it is you want in each part of your life. That's number 1. Number 2, write it down. You all know how powerful journaling is. You have to write it down clearly and in detail as to what it is that you're putting out there for yourself. Always think on paper, guys. A goal that is not in writing is not a goal at all. It's merely a wish and has no energy behind it, okay? So we're not wishing here. We are making our successful goals. And you have to think, a contract is done in writing, okay? You are making a contract to yourself. Set a deadline. Set a deadline for your goal. A deadline acts as a forcing system in your subconscious mind. Now, be sure to do this. Make sure you do this, that you're not setting yourself up to fail. I have 1 month to achieve this. Don't do that. But like, give yourself some room. You know yourself better than anyone else, okay? So what it does, it's going to motivate you to do the necessary things to make your goals come true. If it is a big enough goal, then what I want you to do is set, and I've talked about this a number of times in different videos, set sub-deadlines as well. Okay, because sometimes what can happen is if you have this ginormous goal that you've set up for yourself, the success that you see, and you know that it's going to take 2 years, 5 years to achieve this, right? That distance of where that end goal is can deter you from ever completing it, because all of a sudden it's like you have a failure, you have a setback, and you can easily give up. So that's why always know what your end goal is, but then set sub goals for yourself, little ones in between, to get you through each step, because then you're celebrating, you're acknowledging that success, everything that we talked about, and it can motivate you and inspire you to move to the next one. And then before you know it, 2 years have passed, 5 years have passed, and you've reached your goal. So make those little sub deadlines as well and acknowledge them. It's very important to do that. Make a list. Make a detailed list of everything you can think of that you need or must do to achieve your goal. When you think of new tasks, add them in. Okay, so if it's that I've got to go back to school, is it, that I got to, get another part-time job? Is it that, I have to join a network group? What is it? What are all the things you need to do to achieve? Is it that I've got to get a new computer? Like, even the tangible things that you need for you to achieve your success. You've got to take courses. You've got to do different things like that. Make sure you make the list. Once you've made your list, the next step is make a plan. Okay, organize your list into a plan. Decide what you will have to do first and what you will have to do second, third, fourth. What is it? Is it that I've got to take this course? Is it that I've got to go back to school then? Is it then, I should join a network? Whatever it is, I need you guys to make sure you make a plan. And of course, what are we doing? We're writing it all out. Everything is important when it is written down. It goes into your subconscious. It becomes important. Take action. Do you remember we talked about that up at the top? You're walking the talk. You have to start taking action on your plan. Do something, do anything, but get busy and get going. Okay? So you have to move forward. Don't just be someone that talks about your plan, but you need to start doing things. And that ends with number 7. Do something every single day. Do something that's moving you in the direction of your goal and your success. Develop the discipline of doing something 365 days of the year. That, by the way, guys, that doesn't mean that you're just all like crazy people running around like with your chickens with your head cut off. Like, this can be, you can set something where you're doing intentions one day. As long as you do something every single day that is propelling you forward towards your goal and success. Okay, this could be a conversation, this could be posting something, this could be research, whatever it is. Just always find something that you can be doing that is continuing your journey towards success. And then, of course, the very last thing, I've mentioned it so many times here tonight, and that is, you guys, it's so important for success to celebrate everything, okay? Absolutely everything. All of your achievements that you do, you need to acknowledge absolutely every single thing. Celebration helps us stay in the present, okay? By celebrating the completion of every small step, we leverage the powerful energies of gratitude and momentum. That's what happens in that moment, in that present moment. Life is all about the journey, and that means that every step, as well as reaching our destination, is part of the journey. At every juncture, the definition of a life well lived and well worked. And then, of course, celebration builds self-respect. Did you realize that? It actually builds self-respect. Others treat us according to how we treat ourselves. Remember that one. It's important to hold yourself in high regard. Celebration overwrites this limited conditioning and tips the balance of your internal programming so that it's more natural to think well of yourself. It does. When people see how much you are acknowledging the amazing things that you are doing, people just have so much, you have so much self-respect, and people then can see that in you. Okay? And then celebration feeds self-love and self-esteem. It's an emotional nourishment. Yet sometimes, of course, we just don't feel like celebrating because maybe we've fallen into the habit of harshly judging ourselves. Well, celebrating the small wins is healthy. It's good for your state of mind and your self-esteem. Associating yourself with success instead of failure builds momentum for more success. It's going to build that self-esteem. Just like I said earlier, it's building that confidence. It's pushing you forward to have the success. So what I would like to know is, how do you guys celebrate your small successes? And do you celebrate? Have you found that you don't celebrate the small successes? What is happening? I'd love to hear from you guys. Who wants to go? Victoria, you're first.
Yeah, I don't celebrate.
Okay, so did this one kind of hit you today?
Yes.
Okay, amazing. I love that. That's a breakthrough, sweetheart. So tell me why you don't celebrate your successes.
I probably don't even recognize my own successes. I probably focus on all the negative things rather than the positive things.
Wow. So now, so then I've got to ask then, did you then feel that you felt a lot of the fixed mindset as opposed to the growth mindset?
I think myself for everything. I'm still training myself to think in the opposite direction. I'm not totally there yet.
Amazing. But my gosh, Victoria, you are definitely moving into that growth mindset, sweetheart, and you need to be proud of that. So what I am going to say, what you have just acknowledged and admitted to all of us, is something you need to celebrate. These are the moments I'm talking about. That moment of awareness, sweetheart, is growth. And that is to be celebrated. And celebration doesn't mean that, you're going out for a big fancy dinner, or that, you're going out and buying balloons. Although, honestly, if it was up to me, I would have balloons sent to my house every single week because I love them so much. I love them so much. But it means treating yourself to a great specialty coffee, having a bubble bath, enjoying a glass of wine, telling someone, sending someone an email and say, you will never guess the breakthrough I had today, the awareness that I've just had, and I want to share it with you because I'm celebrating my growth. These are all the moments. It's these tiny little moments, and then all those little ones, then you move up again, and all of a sudden those successes get bigger. You move up again, all those successes get bigger again, and then that goal that you set for yourself doesn't seem so far away. Does that make sense, Victoria?
Yep. I'm working on it.
I know. You better be celebrating tonight. You better be doing something for yourself to celebrate that. Wow. Wow. Anyone else? Did any of this really resonate with anyone else? Do you guys celebrate things? Catherine.
Yeah. Go ahead. Well, for me, I guess I just don't always know how to celebrate. So as it turns out, I actually did some of the things that you were suggesting, Heidi. Like, I would tell somebody, I would call my mom and say, Mom, guess what I did today? It's kind of funny to still do that, or just sometimes maybe it's just telling my journal, like, dear journal, you won't believe what happened. Or, it's the book that I talk to in my hand. But it doesn't have to be big. It can be something little, and then sometimes other people will remind me of successes. Like, I might mention something and not think much of it, and then somebody will say, "Oh my gosh, that is awesome! You just made my day by telling me that." So, yeah, it's an awareness thing too, I think.
And you also have to remember, guys, thank you for that, Catherine. I just love that other people are celebrating you and you don't even realize you should be celebrating that. That's kind of fantastic. But we also need to remember, guys, that, and we've talked about this before as well, that because I talked about it in journaling, where we also have to celebrate and acknowledge our failures as well. Because those failures sometimes become the biggest successes that we've had. Maybe not in the moment do we realize that failure because we're going through the emotional roller coaster of what that is. But then when we realize without that failure, you wouldn't be where you are today. So always remember those are things to acknowledge as well, because those are successful moments. You learned from something that was really difficult, which then has shifted you into your success. Janelle, what about you, honey? How are you feeling about success and celebration?
Yeah, there's a few things. Actually, I had an aha moment when you mentioned how there are people who, when you acknowledge or when other people acknowledge their success, they might shy away from that. They might put their head down and not acknowledge that success. And for a while, that was me. So when people would be like, oh my gosh, Janelle, you're so amazing, I'd be like, wow, thank you so much. But I almost didn't take it in. And as I went on my journey and really thought about it, it's because there's been times that I've attempted to share my success with people and then actually got a negative response, or a response that initially was happy, but then next thing you know, it turned out to be sour. Yeah. So in that, I actually was able to find refuge by making it a point to celebrate my own successes in the best way I know how. So I believe I've kind of, I wouldn't say mastered it, but I'm the type of woman now who the littlest success, and I'll find myself getting a bottle of wine. I'll find myself sitting at a restaurant having a drink, or doing a small thing as like I rarely drink coffee, or like, you know, go to Starbucks and stuff. And I'm like, you know what, I think today is, you know, a day for me to actually treat myself. But then I also do make sure to not overindulge and make sure that that success is something measurable, so that I don't fall into the pit of, you know, I do anything and everything and then I deserve, you know, a treat, so to speak. But it's also a testament in that you have to be careful who you actually tell your successes to, because not everybody is really and truly happy for your success, unfortunately. And it goes back to making sure you surround yourself with positive people, like-minded people.
So Janelle, did you watch the workshop from last week on toxic people yet?
I did watch a portion of it.
Good. Definitely watch that entire thing, because we broke down all the different types of toxic people that are in your life. And the people that you're talking about right now are a number of them. So I kind of categorized them. And a big one in there is envy. It's the envy friend. And that toxic relationship is very hard on someone that is a positive person and can truly hurt your success. So definitely make sure that you check that out. Mia, what are your thoughts? Thank you so much for sharing that, Janelle. Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so glad you've had that awareness.
I'm more like Victoria. We don't celebrate much. My husband and I are very humble that way, that we're just very low-key kind of people. My husband's very much an introvert. So, you know, to do big celebrations, we don't. But in saying that, I was talking to a girlfriend, and I'm saying how both boys have graduated. And they both graduated this December together. I never thought that both of them would be at the same time. And she said, you know, are you celebrating? And they're the type of family that they celebrate everything. And I figured, no, I said, we weren't considering it. But then I was talking to my husband, and I figured, you know, it's something we should.
Yes.
And because I said for the 10 years that the boys were sick, there were so many milestones that went unnoticed because I didn't have the energy or the mindset to do so. But I figured, you know what, we are considering now throwing a party for even all the people that helped us, you know, drive to radiation for our son, you know, 12 years ago, and just support us through the years. And, you know, family and close friends, and, you know, just even having an open house or something like that. We were thinking of doing something like that to acknowledge the boys and their success of graduating university.
Yes.
We're starting, but it's hard for us because I said we're not the types to, you know, throw parties or anything like that. And kind of, we're more in the background kind of people.
Well, one thing, you know what, I feel like a graduation, like the both of them graduating, yes, you know, like you can have a party or a family get together or whatever it is, but always remember, celebration doesn't mean the big parties or, you know, going out and whining and dining and buying expensive gifts and doing all that. Celebration is it's acknowledgement. It is acknowledgement of successes that you've had in your life, which can just be, you know, having a conversation like Catherine said, you know, like writing in her journal or just calling her mom, just to have it acknowledged. And to celebrate with someone else in a conversation that, like, wow, like I did that, I'm gonna tell you about it. I'm having a celebratory conversation with you.
Mhm.
But always remember, it's acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we always, like I said, when the boys do graduate, and so we've always done, like I said, you know, the grandparents and do, you know, go out for dinner, something like that. So we celebrate that way. But this is going to be something, the fact of acknowledging the 12-year journey that the boys went through, a lot of stresses, but also came out the other end. And just even kind of thank you for everyone that supported us, you know, like I said, even with, it was drives to the hospital or with, you know, food or whatever through the, you know, 12 years. So that we've come out the other side and, you know, we've been blessed. So it's something like an acknowledgement of the close family and friends.
100%. And that is a success you do want to celebrate. I'm so glad you're doing that. I'm glad you had that conversation with a friend so that, you know, it made you aware that, yes, we should be doing this. Because I got to tell you, that celebration is going to be for all of you. And how successful all of you are to have come through that.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Does anyone else have any other comments or questions about today's workshop at all before we sign off for the evening? Everyone good? Amazing. Okay, guys, so listen, next week, of course, is Christmas. So we are not having a workshop. I sent you guys a note about that. So you get a week off because we've got to go celebrate Christmas. We got to go do that. So of course, we will follow up. January 2nd will be our next workshop. I'll send you guys emails and everything else. And of course, I will send the link with this particular recorded workshop too. Victoria, you better be celebrating tonight, girl, because that was a huge awareness for you. I absolutely adore you. And I got to tell you, I really like your hair like that.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
It looks really good. Okay, guys, everyone have a good night. Yes, honey.
Did you get my message earlier this morning? There's another guy.
No, what?
Yes, there's another one. And he's been, I think he's been taken off Facebook, actually.
Oh, really?
And I'm suspecting there's another 2 more already.
Oh my gosh. Or I'm wondering if it's that same guy, like you said, he's just taking.
Well, that's possible too, or it could be a group of them that have kind of infiltrated the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, I feel like you are the police in the group.
What's happening?
So we had a guy, so Victoria sent me a note. Oh yeah, you weren't on the workshop on Sunday.
No.
So Victoria sent me a note, I think it was Friday night or Saturday night. And she said, Heidi, there's a guy that got in touch with me. And he sent me all these notes about trying to rip off the government, like pension plan or something. Wasn't it, Victoria?
Yeah, WSIB.
WSIB. So she sent me the entire conversation and the guy's name. And then, so I was like, okay, let me look into this. I'm taking him out of the group immediately. And then an hour later, he messaged me.
Oh.
So I think he was just like one by one sending messages out to people in the group. So I immediately took him out of the group. And then, so Victoria said now she thinks, because Victoria sent a note to Facebook saying, this guy's a scammer, this is what he's done. But then said to me, you know, I'm just worried, like if we say something to him or whatever, he's just going to probably get rid of that picture and that name and come up as somebody else. You know what I mean? So that's what this could be right now.
But one of the things I've noticed is it's usually before anybody friends somebody, go on their profile and see who their friends are, because these guys seem to have only women on their friends. Wow. There's not even one male friend on their profile.
So okay, so they're targeting women 100%.
Yes. So and then when you go, if some of them have like a website or something linked into their profile or whatever, when they're talking about themselves, if you try and go on to them, they don't even exist.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah,
You really
it's
are
sad.
the
No, you know what? I have an investigative background because when I worked in the government, we did do a lot of investigations and I did take a lot of courses. But my daughter is also a police officer, so all of that helps, trust me. And I have been scammed. I'm going to tell you, I have been scammed before, so I'm really leery about this stuff.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Well, thank you so much for like sending me all that stuff and bringing it to my attention in the first place. Yeah. So anytime any of you see stuff like that, just let me know and I can take them right out of the group. But thank you so much, Victoria. Okay, guys. Well, listen, happy holidays. I hope everyone has a fantastic, fantastic Christmas and you all eat way too much.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Guys. Merry Christmas. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Victoria?
Yeah.
I just want to ask you a question. Did you get someone to do your driveway?
Yes, I did. When it was actually Paul.
Okay, because I asked my girlfriend today who does her neighbors, and she says it's Paul's. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I called him up and he came the last
good.
time and he
Okay.
did a great job. And I actually, that was one of my stops today because he was going to call me and let me know what he was going to charge. So I stopped in the store and we've got it done. So
Oh, good.
thankfully now, yeah,
Okay.
it was real.
Amazing.
So, oh yeah. Listen, when that plow came down the street adjacent to my driveway and shoved all that snow in my driveway, I almost had a heart attack.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, I phoned the town because I said, I understand there's a whole corner house. There's lots of room there. Please don't put it in front of my driveway because if it gets any worse than this, I said I'll never be able to get myself out.
No, you won't. It's too heavy, especially when the snow and then it rains. It's like it's too heavy to lift.
But I think too they put some kind of liquid on the road, so when it comes there, it's just like a block of ice.
Wow.
I have to literally chop it to get it apart. So even a snowblower won't even go through it.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so because I think they put some kind of beet juice or something on the roads to keep them from freezing and stuff. Yeah, so there's some kind of liquid or something I think they put on it, and it makes it even harder. So
Okay.
yeah, but the guy was really good. He said to me that it was a new guy, so that he would speak to him. So the second morning I watched him and he did a really great job. And then I actually even called them back and thanked them.
Oh, that's
because
good.
I didn't want them to think that I just wanted to complain. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
Okay, guys. Have a
Okay, bye,
great
guys.
night. Bye,
Okay,
everyone.
Good night.